right, welcome to the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business and Family. My name is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. On this episode, we're going to sit down with one of our owner-operators, Mr. Steve Grant, and we're going to talk about his journey from, well, I mean, we were discussing a while ago about when he was a young kid and how he grew up and how he's a veteran and how he got into trucking and what he's up to this point in his life. He's got a very good story, and we're going to talk to him about that and some other things too. But first, I want to thank you guys for listening to the podcast. I thank you for following us on social media. We need you to continue that so we can get out there to more people. This has been one of the best tools we've ever had as far as recruiting and retention. We got one of the lowest retention turnover rates in the business for an over-the-road trucking company, and a lot of it contributes to this podcast and to the recruiting process, which I want to talk about with you too, Steve, your recruiting process that we went to. But it really helps of y'all sharing this when you can and commenting and everything else. It makes a big difference. So really the only thing I got before I start this is, of course, as always, our sponsors, Boss Truck Shops. Those guys, it's going great so far on that, getting some good feedback. I want y'all to use them and give us that. I just talked to two guys that use Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer. I called them, and I said, how was it? And Willie Fletcher was one of them. He said it was fantastic. He said I'm so glad y'all put me onto that place because I've been there, I don't know, 4 or 5 times getting things done. And he said they are just very good at communicating, very good on the price. I mean, they have it's his new shop. I mean, he is sold on it. So, and I think that's great. These guys at Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer have been fantastic, and y'all need to try them out here local for sure. The only thing really other I got is, I know we mentioned this back, I think we did on an episode about rental trucks. So Oakley has purchased some trucks. I know everybody's going, what? Oh my God. We purchased 4 trucks, fixing to be 6 total. And what we have figured out is, and it's sad to say this, Steve, but people were broke down so much that they needed a rental truck to jump in and to be able to keep going and generating revenue instead of just sitting there and not making any money. So we've done this, been doing it for a while now with some actually MHC leasing trucks, but we've bought our own rental trucks for you guys. So when you're down, you can rent one of our trucks, jump in there. It's a real reasonable weekly rate, and we take care of all the maintenance on the truck and stuff, and you can continue to go with it. So it's turned out to be a great little deal for a lot of our owner operators. So y'all keep that in mind if you're broke down and you need to get in a truck and keep working for a week or 2. Yeah. All right, Steve, thanks for coming over here.
Yes, sir.
Joining me on the podcast,
My
man.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I always like talking to our owner operators and getting their stories because it just, I don't know, I just like, it makes it realize you guys are just like anybody else, hard-working people trying to make a good living.
That's all we're trying to do.
But one thing I do know is you had the best recruiter in the whole department out there.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even know who my recruiter really was until I got here.
Really?
I thought my recruiter was just another recruiter, and because I called in to speak to one recruiter, and after speaking to this one for about 5 minutes, and then he called me back after he looked at my driver's license or whatever, and then whatever he decided, he called me back and said, I'm going to handle you from here on out. I'm like, handle me? What do you mean handle me? But joking.
Right.
but no, he was going to carry out the process from that point, and I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So for me, he was just a recruiter, and I'm like, well, I called in to speak to this guy, but this guy is, just kind of, but okay, I'm building a relationship with him, so okay, let me just run with it. And then I learned who he was, and I learned that he was the bottom of the totem pole here at the company.
That's exactly right. You got that
right. No, but my process was a little different than some, but it has been a great process, and honestly, it's been one of the I would say it's been one of the best moves I've made, honestly.
Good.
You know, and me and my recruiter, we had this conversation about, you know, people give a big game or they talk a big game, you know, and they give you all these promises and they tell you how good things are. And, you know, and I'm like, you know, I can take a pile of poo and put some sugar in it and make it sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, until you get to know people, and me and my recruiter, I think we built a pretty good relationship.
Well, I know that they built a good relationship because it was me, and it was we were just frank with each other.
Right.
We made that connection early on in the conversation that, you know, we don't need no fluff on either end. We need to get this out in the open and see if this is going to work or not. And it was great to you know, talk to you during that whole process. I enjoyed it.
It has been great for me, seriously.
Yeah, because I don't get to do it as much anymore. Those guys typically beat me to the phone call. I don't get it. But it was great going through the process. I mean, it really is because when you're honest with people and you're up front and you lay it all out, well, then there's not a bunch of surprises when you get here.
It's kind of like dating the perfect person. And what I mean when I say that, when you know you're dating the right person is from day one, the first time you go out, they tell you what they don't like. And you can tell them what you don't like, and you all can kind of say, okay, well, let's do this. Mm-hmm. Instead of putting this artificial, you know, first 2, 3, 4 months of, you know, I don't want to show who I really am.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, it was just nice.
We showed who we were right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. Got to understand.
You hadn't changed a bit.
And I won't.
Boss Truck Shops provides experienced truck and tire repair services at the highest standards in the industry. With more than 70 years of service to the trucking industry, you can trust Boss Truck Shops to meet all your needs and get you back on the road. With 44 locations in 23 states and growing, Boss Truck Shops is one of America's largest service center chains, reaching across the country from east to west and north to south. As a fourth-generation family-owned business, they understand the importance of relationships just like Oakley does. That's why we trust their people to take care of ours. So next time your truck needs serviced while you're on the road, visit Boss Truck Shop and let them know that you heard it here on the Oakley Podcast.
Hey, tell the listeners who you are, where you're from, and your family.
I'm Steve Grant. I was born in Asheville, North Carolina. Did not know anything about the state of North Carolina except for visiting my grandparents until I was 13. Because my dad was in Vietnam, 66, 67. Came out of Vietnam, moved back to North Carolina. I was born. Jobs, you know, everything went bad in 72, 73 with the economy. He went back in the Army, went into the Army because he was Marine Corps of Vietnam. Went into the Army. My grandfather told him not to do it. Said that the Army wasn't ready for you. And so he went in. He learned real fast that the Army wasn't ready for him because he was too rah-rah, too hardcore. He was a grunt in the Marines. So the Army wasn't ready for a Marine grunt. He was an E5 sergeant, used to commanding a platoon, you know, and they weren't ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but he was in Monterey, California. So I spent my first 3 years in Monterey, and then moved down to Compton. Well, my parents moved to Compton, and they took me along because I was only like 4 years old, so I didn't move anywhere. Yeah. So we get down to Compton, and we're there for a few years, and then, you know, my dad decided he wanted to get us out of the inner city, so we moved out into the desert, out to Riverside, and then Paris and Riverside, just back and forth, right there around the 215 and Cajalco.
Until you were 13, and then he said, 13. Hey, time to get back home.
Yeah, he said, you know, things are getting a little crazy on this side. We're getting ready to head back east. Yeah. And so it took us back to North Carolina, and he left with, in 1985, he left California with just under $100 in his pocket in an LTD.
Man.
We made it back to North Carolina. It took us about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Because what he was doing when we got over to Flagstaff, because back then I-10 didn't go through Phoenix and then around through the highway. So you went up to Flagstaff, up to Barstow, and you hit 66. So we took 66 all the way across country. So back then it was still, I don't know if people are familiar with the cartoon Cars, where they talk about Radiator Springs and all of that going across. So those towns used to really exist. So back then, if you needed money, you stopped. You could do little work, work in a mechanic shop, help people with yard work, do different things, make you money to get yourself across country.
Really? So that's what he did?
So every day or two, we'd stop and we'd be there all day long. 100 degrees, we sitting in there, windows rolled down in the LTD. I'm cutting grass or helping my dad change brakes and stuff, and working on people's cars.
Get some money to get on to the next one.
Yep, get on to the next spot. And that's how we did it all the way across country.
Oh, what a story. That's good. So you grow up in North Carolina, and how in the world I guess you did like your dad. You went in the military.
Yep. So
when you got out of school?
I was Marine Corps ROTC for 4 years in high school. So I was rah-rah just like he was, ready to go to the Marines, signed in, was ready to do everything. The Army offered me a nice little bonus, and, I was just poor enough to understand that if somebody's offering me extra money to do the same job, I'm going to take the extra money. Right. And I can't really say poor enough. I had enough common sense to know if I'm going to make more for the same job. So, moved over to the Army, went down the Army for a little bit, and,
How long were you in the Army?
7 years total, but only 1 year active.
Okay.
And the reason it was only 1 year active is kind of had some family issues with my parents. They had their own personal issues, from, coming up through the 70s, alcohol, drugs, different things. So I kind of took care of my sister for a lot.
Good.
So me coming out early was my sister emancipated herself from my parents. So I came home to get her out of the group home and got an apartment, and my commanding officer, my CO, he gave me a release to go and just do active reserves while I got her through high school. So she's only a year behind me in school. But by then, I was a truck driver in the Army, so I started driving trucks for Rhodes Furniture. And I was making more money than I was in the Army because I was only making $600 every 2 weeks. And then it moved up to $900, but I was making quite a bit more than that driving trucks. Yeah. So I stepped down from being active reserve to just being reserve. So that's how I kind of walked away from it because
started making more money. Common sense, right?
Right. So
common sense.
That's how I kind of got in the military, and got my sister through school, and but.
Now you got a family of your
own? Yes, I have a daughter, 27, and a son, 25. My son came out of college. He came out 2 years ago down in Columbia, South Carolina. So he was working at the same company with my wife, Lumen Technologies, as a computer programmer and marketing agent. And my wife is a actual national marketing agent with Lumen. So my daughter is still pursuing her medical career through medical school.
Oh, really?
So she's in Virginia. My wife is up there with her now, but in Virginia.
Good for her.
She was at East Virginia Medical School. So 27, still doing it. So I still got to work hard.
You do. You do. We're probably close to the same age because my boys are 25 and 27.
Okay.
I'm talking about your dad and mom and dad are in their upper 70s. And
78 and 75.
Yeah, my dad's in his mid-70s. So, I mean, we're about the same age, I'm sure. So, what do you do when you're not working? You got any good hobbies?
Honestly, when I'm not working right now, I kind of like to vacation.
Where at?
Well, I just came back from a 8-day Alaskan cruise 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
So, up there eating.
Oh, you were telling me about them crab legs.
Extreme king red crabs. Oh, up in Skagway, and then come down to Juneau and got some king snow crab. I didn't know there was a difference in the two, but I learned something different. But you know what I learned that's very common with both of them?
What?
They're both delicious.
It is good. I've never had any of those, but it sounds awesome.
Yes.
At Arrow Truck Sales in Springfield, Missouri, they take the hassle out of buying and selling semi-trucks. No matter the manufacturer, the style of cab, or the type of engine under the hood, they can make you a fair offer on your semi-truck with no games or gimmicks. They carry trucks from all the major manufacturers in the trucking industry and perform a thorough inspection of every truck on their lot to ensure safety and quality and give you confidence that you're getting a reliable truck that will last you for years at a price that you can afford. Arrow has partnered with Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast for years and are proud to provide our owner-operators with trucks that meet Oakley's qualifications and each owner-operator's specific needs. So whether you're a first-time owner-operator or just looking for a change of scenery, give Keith Wilson a call at 573-216-6047 and let them know you heard it here on the Oakley Podcast.
So your trucking career started when you got out of the Army.
Well, in the Army.
In the Army, actually, yeah, that's right.
Petroleum supply specialist.
Yep. Started making more money, so you started trucking full time.
Yep.
And your career, I guess, at some point brought you to become an owner-operator?
Yep. So I kind of took a zigzag approach. My granddad always told me never, ever, don't get stuck doing one thing. Have multiple things. So I drove trucks. I quit trucks. I worked in a couple of factories. I detailed cars. I'm a barber by trade.
Oh, really?
I've been a mechanic, went back to factories. Then I drove charter buses for 21 years.
Drove charter buses?
Charter buses.
21 years?
Young Transportation out of Asheville, North Carolina. Yep. Drove for them. When COVID hit in 2020, March the 10th, I was at the ACC tournament in Greensboro, North Carolina. I had Wake Forest men's basketball. I was there with Danny Manning and Randolph Childress and the rest of the coaches and players. And we were at the Greensboro Coliseum, and they shut everything down as their game was ending. And told everybody to disperse.
No kid.
So we went back out.
I remember that because it was going on during that time of the regionals or the NCAA tournaments going on.
So it was during the conference tournaments. And we left, went back to the hotel, collected everything from the hotel, and the hotel shut everything down. We had to get our stuff and leave. There was no other choice.
That was it.
Took them back to Winston-Salem. Everybody got off the bus. We shut everything down. It was like, I guess I'll see you all in a year or two. Because we knew this was going to be a process. Because it was like, they said, oh, it's, we should have it under control in the next 30 days. And we're like, yeah, this is an event that's shutting the entire world down.
Yeah.
This is not a 30-day event. So sat at home for about I guess that was March. I sat at home until May. The bus company called back. They wanted us to do city to taking people from work in the cities, but we could only wear a mask. We couldn't. The city buses put structures up to block their drivers from the public.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't. So people getting on and off the bus, sneezing, coughing, just getting on the bus. And I did it for 2 or 3 days, and one of the other drivers caught COVID. And when she got sick, she got bad sick, like within a day or two. And when we got back to the office, they had a cooler sitting outside. It was pouring down rain. They put all of our paperwork in a cooler and said, you are not allowed in the building. So we walked up. It was pouring down rain. They didn't put the lid down on it. Our paperwork was in soaking water. And they said, well, just grab it, let it air dry, but go ahead to work. I turned around and walked out, went and got back in my pickup truck and went home. And that was the last time I drove a charter bus.
Enough's enough.
Enough is enough. And I sat at home for about a month. And then I was like, looked at my wife. I said, I got to do something. She was like, yes, you have got to get out the house. She was like, because you are running me crazy. And I know I was, because I'm not good at just sitting around.
Yeah.
So I decided to go back, and I had to do even though I was a CDL driver, I hadn't driven a truck in a little over 5 years as far as for anything, so I had to go through a refresher course. So I went to FTA, Future Truckers of America in North Carolina. I had to do 2 weeks. It was a 4-week thing. But I done 2 weeks and drove for them, and they said, why are you here? I was like, well, I haven't driven a truck for a little over 5 years. I said, I wanted to do a quick refresher. Plus, reputable companies wanted me to come and just, do something. So they was like, okay. So done the 2 weeks in the classroom, or a week in the classroom. Went out with the trainers, and literally the first day I went out with the trainers, the guy asked me, he said, what the are you doing here? I was like, I told you. He's like, you're better than me. He was like, you can drive my truck better than I can. He's like, why are you here? And I'm sitting up. I was confused at first, because I'm like, what do you mean? I said, I told you why I'm here. He was like, don't come back to class. He was like, when the course is over, we'll call you to come and get your sign your papers. And literally, they put me out of class.
Huh.
So I went back home. I sat home for 2.5 weeks, and they called me and said it was the last day of class. I went back. I done the qualifying drive, and smiled in front of the camera, took a picture. And they told me to take that piece of paper and go back to South Carolina and turn it into the DMV. That's literally how I got back into trucking.
Where'd you get a job after that? Did you buy your own truck, or you went to Warner?
Went to Warner, worked for them for about 4 months. I was doing what they call the Gutman account out of Waller, Texas. Done that. I inquired about doing the Dollar General. I just asked them about it. They were way behind on it because nobody wanted to do it. So they had me to go. My manager, Courtney, gave Dollar General, gave them the approval to just move me from the account that I was on over to the Dollar General account. I got there, done it for a day and a half, and decided it wasn't for me. That was just that account is work that I never ever wish for anybody to have to do.
Really?
Loading and unloading those trucks. So as you open up the back door and they stack that stuff so high, you have to walk behind the door because stuff immediately comes out. So and then you're the person standing there picking it back up and trying to unload the truck. Not good work. But,
well, and at Dollar General, I mean, they just put them in the aisles anyway. I mean, they don't put them up. You just got to walk around it. But I love the place. I love DG's.
But do you know how the stuff gets in the aisles?
You put it there?
The truck
driver puts it?
Well, the truck driver, when that stuff is piled to the top of the trucks, he has to go up on the ramp, and he's moving stuff and looking at the labels and moving everything and putting them on these things called banana boats. And then the rest of it stays in the little metal rack that it's in. So he gets all that stuff moved, bring it down, put it in the back door, and then the manager pulls it out. But then he has to go in and help make sure it's organized to get it out on the floor. So not fun work. But I decided, with the way they treated me, that honestly I didn't want to work for anybody else. So at that point, I decided to do 2 1099 companies because I actually own Granted Tours, which is a charter agency where I put together trips for people to go on New York excursions, like what Anna's getting ready to do. Mm-hmm. So I put together trips even now and sell seats. I subcharter a bus and sell seats, and then people go out.
Really?
So I've always been business oriented to own my own businesses. So going into trucking, once I got treated that way, I decided I'm going to do a couple of 1099 companies so I learn how the business runs. So working for somebody else using their truck, but now I can have the chance to not have to deal with the vehicle side of it, but I can learn the structure of it. So I learned the structure of trucking as far as being an owner, and then I done that for about, until April. That was January to April, and then May the 13th, I bought the truck that I have. And that was 2021.
I was going to say what year that was, 2021.
Yeah, and that's how I went into the ownership side of trucking. And then I worked with one company, Trans Stewart. People remember that name. Stay away from them. So I did that. And then I was going to go. I went with Carolina Trucking, Carolina Logistics for like a week. I don't even consider that. But then I decided to get my own authority and done that for 2.5 years. And then went to Keenan Advantage, pulled tanks for them for about 1.5 years. And then Genox, doing cryogenics for about a month. And learned that I love that type of work, but that particular company, no, wasn't for me. And then went over to Henneth. And while I was at Henneth, started calling a recruiter, and that's when I got connected with my recruiter. And funny story, that about me coming over, my truck.
Yeah. So the truck was a little questionable.
Yeah. Good looking truck, but
Did I hurt your feelings when I was quizzing you about your truck?
No, not at all.
Pretty hard?
No, it was actually funny to me, and I think that's honestly where we built a true relationship, honestly.
Well, because I was asking details about your truck. What does it look like? What can you send me pictures of it? Kind of mileage it's got, because it was a little bit out of our date range. So I was quizzing you about that. I remember you saying this. You told me, you said, you are the first recruiter that has ever asked me about my truck.
Yep. But do you remember some of the details? And you probably don't, because you've dealt with a lot of people. But I can remind you of some details about our conversation.
Something, what was it? Tell you get something fixed, or
no? What? No, when you said about getting a new truck, and then I was like, well, I said I do. I said, but I said I don't want to go buy a new truck, and then the marriage don't work, and then I'm stuck with a large bill. I said, because people tell you stuff all the time, and that's where I was saying earlier, where this has been one of the few not one of the few, the only place where what I was told from the beginning, and I can honestly say what I was told from the beginning, there has never been wool pulled over my eyes or a blanket thrown up, where, you see a magician, a con artist, if you want to call them that, throw a blanket up, you see them there, they throw a blanket up and they run. When the blanket comes back down, there's nothing there, and it's like, poof, he disappeared. No, he ran off to the side. So, for me, that's, that was what I appreciated.
Well, it worked out good.
Very well,
you
yes.
made it here, and now you're trading up.
Yes.
What'd you buy now? It's
a 2021, so it's not new. It's going to be new to me.
Okay.
But I'm giving myself another year. So once I give myself another year, I do a certain amount into my voluntary escrow now. In another month, I'm getting ready to double that into my voluntary. So I'm going to do that for 1 year, and then I'm going to take that money out and just buy a new truck.
There you go.
So
great plan.
And that's the one thing that not the one thing. That's one of the great things I like about here. There's a escrow, and then there's the voluntary escrow. And if you feel like you're going to spend your money or not, you feel like if your wife sees the account, it might be some things bought.
Yeah.
So, you have money moved over, and no one knows about it except you and Brian.
Well, and that's that needs to be happening because you got to save money when it comes to these trucks and your
Exactly.
business. The business that you're running for sure.
Exactly, and that's what I use it for. I have my business account and credit card, but having that second account where it doesn't even come to my account itself, it sits in that voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I decide to do something within the company or buy something new, I just call Brian, and the next morning it's in my account.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things, and I've not seen another company that does that. The voluntary escrow as well as the regular escrow.
Yeah. Well, it's like you don't see it,
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, keep saving. And finances are a big deal when it comes when you're an owner operator doing it yourself. You better be a little money savvy. We've had episodes with money guys, in the past about talking some of the best ways for owner operators to develop retirement, accounts and take care of their business and stuff. It's a lot to it now.
It is.
You got to be on top of your game there, or you'll look because you get some big checks and then you think you can go spend it, and you better save it because that day's coming.
As they say in the old school, living on the hog.
Yeah,
living on top of the hog. Yeah,
living high on the hog. That's exactly right. Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer strives to take care of our owner-operators as quickly and accurately as possible. As a family-owned and operated company, they understand and value the importance of relationships just like we do. That is why our owner-operators continue to return to their shop for service on their trucks. From DOT inspections to complete engine rebuilds, they provide all owner-operators with top-notch service. So the next time your truck needs a little TLC, give Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer a call at 501-568-2185 and let them know you heard it here on the Oakley Podcast. Other than being an owner-operator, you take pretty good of your health-wise, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a foodie, but, I work out quite a bit to keep it managed.
That's hard to do on the road, isn't it?
No.
No?
Keep you 2 25-pound dumbbells and a 35-pound flat weight. So one of the things that I do, and I see people look at me crazy when I'm at the rest areas and at truck stops. So I'll get out, and when I'm getting ready to go into the store, so I don't even walk down the candy aisle. When I walk in, I go in and I carry my 25-pound dumbbells.
Into the store?
Into the store. I carry them into the truck stop. Seriously.
One in each hand.
One in each hand, and I go to the bathroom. I sit them on the counter. I'm not sitting them on them floors. I sit them on the counter at the end of the sink. I go use the restroom, whatever. I come back out, wash my hands. I pick my dumbbells back up. There's 2 things that solves. Number 1, it helps me stay in shape. Number 2, my hands are full, so I can't pick up candy or potato chips walking out. So it manages how I eat and how I take care of myself. So, it sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy. It is crazy, Steve.
And people look at me like, what the world? But it helps me not.
I would be looking at you like the same way. What in the world is he doing?
Then I walk out, and I try to always park as far away from the store as I can.
Yeah.
So then I'll walk the parking lot. I'll put my gloves on So I have this rule when I get in and out of my truck. I cannot get in my truck without doing 5 to 10 step-ups on each leg.
Oh.
So from the ground, before I get in the truck on each leg, I have to do, depending on the day and how lazy I'm feeling, I have to step up and down on each leg 5 times to 10 times minimum. And then I can get on in the truck.
There you go.
That way, blood pressure and blood clots are a major, major issue for truck drivers.
Yeah.
And one of the problems is we use the arm rails to pull ourselves up, so our legs get no real workout other than walking to a restaurant or walking to a toilet. And those are just facts.
Yeah.
So for me, doing those step-ups are crucial for me to make sure that when I'm driving, sometimes you drive and you're like, wiggling your leg because your leg is getting tired, it's getting numb. It's because you're driving too many hours without stopping and walking. When they start getting numb, you're starting to actually clot up. So every 2 to 3 hours at most, you're supposed to stop, walk for a few minutes, and then get back in, let the blood flow.
Yeah, we do the same thing here. I mean, it's the same, sitting at a desk all the time.
Right. So that's why.
Now, that dump trailer gives you a little workout, doesn't it? Occasionally.
So if you take that P and flip it upside down, what does it spell?
I don't know what.
Take the P from dump. Take the P and turn it upside down.
Dumb?
There you go.
That would be me.
So sometimes that's a dumb trailer. And what I mean when I say that, the trailer itself isn't dumb. So let me go back to what I mean. So sometimes the loaders load things to where they're up over the bows, and sometimes you'll spend an hour and a half or 2 hours. And they don't do it when it's a nice day. If it's 60 degrees, 70 degrees, they always get everything right when they load your trailer. They always get it wrong when it's 95, 96 degrees. Mm-hmm. Then they want to overload one side, and you stand up there for the next 2 hours with a shovel in your hand, moving crap because they overloaded one side or they overloaded the back or, whatever. You sweating everything out. You get back in your truck and you have to climb in the back of your truck and change clothes before you can even sit in your driver's seat and move.
I bet you don't step up 5 or 10 times after that.
No.
Before you get in your truck.
No.
I bet you don't carry no 25-pound weights up in the store.
No, I barely can't carry myself at that point. So.
I've had guys come back and say that they've lost weight. They're in better shape than they've ever been after operating a dump trailer before. I mean, just climbing in and out of it, doing what you're saying. I mean, some of that stuff you're going to run into for sure.
Yes.
It keeps you a little more active than a reefer, right?
It does. Oh, a lot more active than a reefer. Mm-hmm. A reefer has me lazy.
Yeah.
Because, you put your crossbar up and go to sleep.
Yeah. Couple more things before we go. I'm assuming, but I'll ask you this anyway. You proud to be a truck driver?
Very.
Why is that?
Well, you get to see places that most people only dream of, even in their own country. You get to meet people that you honestly would never think that you would even associate yourself with. And that's just, because we live in a time now where people aren't people anymore. Some people think that they are above other people. And I don't care what you look like, people think that they are above other people. Mm-hmm. I'm like, at the end of the day, you're a human being. I don't care how much money you have in your bank account. You put your pants on one leg at a time.
That's right.
If you bump your head on a, moving around, you're going to say, ouch, just like the next man. Yeah. So, we've lost humanity. So, and being a truck driver, being out here, you get to understand and you get to see firsthand that things aren't as bad or as crazy as they make it out to be. Because, people listen to what they're told, not what they see. And as a truck driver, most of the time, you get to see humanity at its best and at its worst. Yeah. So, and the biggest thing about trucking is you get to make whatever life you want, whether it's a lucrative life or if it's a meaningless life. So
just getting by.
Just getting by. And I've never been the one that wants to just get by. Yeah. I want to get by the person that's being lazy,
Right.
So I want to get to that next level.
Good answer. Well, it's I think most truck drivers are proud to be truck drivers because they love what they do, or they wouldn't do it. You wouldn't think, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Good people just like you, just like me in the trucking business. We do. We put our pants on just like anybody else.
You keep giving that word a bad name.
Which one?
Good.
I do.
You keep relating me to good people.
You're good. You're good. You are good. Any advice? You've been an owner-operator since 21?
Yep, April 21.
So you've been in it 4 years here. What would you tell somebody that wants to get into the owner-operator business?
Number one, make sure you know or learn something about ownership. Because if you don't know how to own something, you'll never know how to keep it. Because it's so quick to see the money come in, and you live based off the money that comes in. And living off the money that comes in will have you out of business really fast. Because you don't understand that, 200,000 miles, 220, 30,000 miles down the road, you're going to have to put a new set of tires on. That's going to be easily $6,000, $6,000, and that's not even for the top tier tires. I'm talking about doing 10. If you're doing just the drives, you're looking at, $5,000 for decent tires, and then the steers are another $1,000. You're not looking at every 20,000 miles or so doing an oil change is going to run you about $600. That alternator is going to clonk out on you, while you're driving down the road, and you're like, why aren't my lights working? Yeah, you got to pull into that truck stop then, and pay, anywhere from $500 to $1,100 to replace the alternator, depending on which one goes out, because a lot of people don't know there's 2 alternators on the truck.
So you better have capital.
You better have capital put back.
Yeah, to be able to operate a business, because that's what it is.
Don't live off the money you make. Give yourself a paycheck.
Yep. Good advice, man. What's a future look like for Steve Grant and his family?
Well, the future for Steve Grant and his family right now looks like Aruba for 8 days on a cruise boat in another month. So, but outside of that, no.
Yeah, you did tell me that the other day, because me and my wife are going to Aruba in October for our 30-year anniversary. So,
and we're supposed to be comparing notes.
That's right.
When I come back to see if flying over versus cruising over, which one is better.
I mean, do you like the pilot or do you like the captain?
Well, I can tell you one of the things that one of us is going to like better than the other.
What?
The food on the journey.
Yeah, you will. You will like that. But mine's not a journey. I'm getting there pretty quick.
Exactly. Mine is a journey.
It is a journey. Well, good. That is the quick. I mean, that's the short future. What about the long?
The long future, honestly, it's work for a couple of more years. Depending on how next year goes, and if I see everything is still moving forward, I'm gonna probably sit down with my recruiter and probably put 1 or 2 more trucks on. And then I got a couple of people that they're growing up pretty well. They're coming to a place in their lives where I can trust them. So, the way I've always been taught is if you have family or someone that you see that you can help that's trying to move up, help them move up. So I'm going to probably move them over, help them move up, get a better life, and then put somebody in the truck that I have and become just a business owner, and then run both of my businesses.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't always want to be out here, doing it. I, give other people a chance. And,
right.
Spend some time at home.
Well, man, I appreciate you sitting down with me.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I appreciate getting to know you. Even though we went through the recruiting process together, I still learned things about you I didn't know. So it was good. But I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yes.
Your wife like you working here?
My wife just likes me working, period. She says I get on her nerves when I'm at home too much.
Yeah. I hear that a lot from truck drivers.
Yeah.
I ask them that question. They tell me a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
So, good. Man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you sitting down with me, hearing your story, and telling all our listeners about it. I think it's great, and I appreciate you doing it.
Well, hopefully, it helps somebody else that's possibly thinking of coming over. giving them another perspective and an understand that regardless of where you come from, regardless of your background, as long as it's something you want to do, when it's something you want to do, you'll do it. You'll figure a way to do it.
If I get some of them asking to talk to you, care if I give them your number?
Not at all. Give it to them.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for listening to the Oakley Podcast. We got some good ones, some good episodes that we have, just like with Steve, and it's a great story with him that it just keeps going. And we try to do so many of these, as many as we can. But we've got some stuff in the future that's coming down the road. That's going to be some good episodes. I think last time I might have told you, go back and look at some of the episodes that you missed. Really some good ones in the past too. I catch myself going back and looking and thinking, this is what we need to do, Annabelle. We really need to go back and see some of our older episodes and then build off of that. Whether it's get that person back in here or, that they were doing something or just anybody. We need to look at some of that and get some people back on the podcast and show. But anyway, hey, I appreciate everybody listening to the Oakley Podcast. Y'all are great. We'll talk to you next week.